Good evening, this is Kuro. Got a tier 10 game in my Grozovoy. Actually, it's morning time. Ugh. Falling into a rut doing these usually at night. Trying to get this in before the dinosaurs wake up. Anyway, going over the matchmaking. Looking at a Wooster, Double Minotaur, Seattle. Rounding out potential radar threats. Shimakaze, Kosak, they both are major issues for zoning me out with their concealment advantage. If these guys are smart enough to play behind their or play with support behind them, it basically makes it impossible for me to push into them to deal with them. So this is going to be probably the final lesson I do on Russian destroyers for a little bit. Um, Gonna move into some other ships here shortly and revisit them. Probably the German destroyer line will be next on the agenda after the post AP nerfs or battleship AP nerf. Uh, I have a feeling that it really affected those boats, particularly Z-52, in a good way. Um, and I'm also going to try to grind up a few fat boats. There's been some people interested in seeing some battleship play, so might as well uh, add some of these ships to my port. It's not like I'm really grinding anything else at this time. Um, Might get some more cruiser gameplay in here. Um, but anyway, if you have any comments about what you guys would like to see, just leave them in the comments below, and I will do what I can to get you games. Back to the game. I am headed up to decap. Uh, my plan of attack is, with all of this radar, I don't just want to rush right into the cap, and you'll see why rushing into cap is usually a bad thing. Sometimes it can be good, but it's extremely situational, and I feel that the vast majority of destroyer players are too fast to get on a cap, and they pay for that. So instead of getting up on the cap, what I want to do is I need to get my team information. I've got all of these guys behind me looking for something to shoot. And, I mean, over on this other flank, this Asashio's in trouble. Seattle popped up. He's being radared right now. Um, but I'm just pushing up here, and what I'm kind of hoping happens is that we get an enemy DD that tries to make a play for cap, because we've got a Cleveland back here, and there he is. Cleveland pops radar, and I'm going to throw away uh, some of my hit points trying to get this guy out of the way. He takes a massive hit from somebody, and that's just reinforcing my, you know, desire to try to finish this guy off. But I've got a Wooster that's pushing me, and I got to start kiting. Uh, I repair my rear gun, and now that I've actually got into a kiting position, I can start shooting this guy and be a little more effective. Now, one thing to note, this is why it's a bad thing to go right into cap. If I had rushed right into cap, I would have been radared by a Wooster who would have been able to cover, these areas of the island, and then also have a Minotaur that's able to shoot on these sides of the island. And I would be in a very tough position. This position with the Minotaur tells me that this guy is probably a pretty good player, and I expect that this Worcester player kind of knows his business too with the way that he was getting shots off on me. Um, but again, one of the advantages of these destroyers with heals, you can trade that HP uh, and basically make those trades against enemy destroyers that don't have heals, and you're okay with it. I mean, I took a lot of damage, but I popped one heal, I'm back up to half HP, and as soon as I get rid of these destroyers in my way, I start controlling the engagements more and more. Now, the Worcester comes up, he's going to radar me here. Um, this is just a good play on his behalf. Worcester's still able to do Worcester things. I'm kiting out more aggressively. The Minotaur gets a shot off, but I'm able to disengage because the Worcester's taking so much damage that he's kind of running for his life right now. And this creates an opportunity for me. I see that this guy's likely going to run into this island. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to come right back up here. I'm going to ignore the cap, let them cap this point. I want to spot this Worcester so we can get him off the board. I don't want that guy to be able to have another shot at radaring me like he did. So I'm pushing up, and there he is. I'm low enough HP, and I don't have a heal available right now. I'm not going to finish it myself, but I'm basically creating the situation to let my team deal with the problem. Now the situation is we don't really have any radars. There's no way to really reset the cap. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a play to erode some of this support for this cap. And what I'm doing, I see this battleship. He's not going to push into all of my ships. This guy's going to go this way. And he's kind of boxed himself in. So I just launched my torps to squeeze this guy out on this coast of the island. And then I'm just going to smoke up and put some pressure, fire pressure on this battleship. And, force him to start moving. Unfortunately, there's not any additional spotting for me to really make this stick. Kind of is what it is. Got the torps coming in. That's a dead Montana. But we're going to have to start dealing with these ships on decap because we're down a cap. And again, just got another heal off. My last heal takes me up to a little more than a third of my hit points. But I'm at a stage in the game where there's no real radar threats to me over here. I can control, the engagements for the most part. And that will drastically limit the amount of damage that I incur. Now with these torps, I'm launching them in front of this Minotaur. What I'm thinking is that this North Carolina pushing up may push this guy forward, and if that happens, he may run into my torps. It's not the cleanest volley in the world, but it is what it is. Trying to slow up here. I accidentally do consumable salad. Y for me is always speed boost, and instead it's the I key on Grozovoy. The day that they get unified consumables will be a happy day indeed for me. So I'm just going to be patient, take this cap, and this is another example of what I was talking about in earlier videos with Udaloy and Tashkent, where waiting for basically everything to ripen, the situation to be perfect, and just let it fall into my hand where I don't have to do a bunch of HP trading unless I absolutely have to try to win the game. Just kind of throwing some harassing shots at this Montana. Um, he's broadside, so AP can do a lot of work. Unfortunately, didn't get any fires. Um, but right now, I am just being patient. I am thinking to myself, which way do I want to go? I mean, here they've got, just a one battleship. It looks like there might be a mid push going on. And then we get this Shimakaze spotted. He's of course, primary target number 2 for me. So really want to try to get after that guy. And Grozovoy, like all the Russian DDs, and perhaps even more so, um, she makes it really easy to shoot DDs. Even something as fast and agile as a Shima at 10 plus kilometers, no problem. You just, of course, have to figure out how fast these guys are going to accelerate. That's the main thing. I duck behind the island, which really isn't what I want. I want to make sure that we get this guy finished off because he's still just as big a threat at 800 HP as he is full health. Well, can be. Throw some quick shots out there, get a piece of him, finish him off. And here, I'm just throwing some pretty much FU torps to any of these guys looking to push in. And again, just you can tell the lack of spotting here. It's hurting. One thing to note: the reason why I'm focusing the North Carolina instead of the Montana, it is drastically easier for me to get fires on the North Carolina than it is a tier 10 battleship. So, you know, it being that much easier for me to get pressure applied to the guy, he should be my initial target. I've got a fire on him. He's ticking. He's rushing into my friendly Montana. So I'm going ahead and I'm just going to switch targets to this Montana. Uh, I want this guy distracted. He's got the broadside of my friendly Montana. And I'm just trying to do what I can to help the guy out. RNG's just saying no to me, so switching to AP. And I mean, if you aim AP correct, it does more DPM than just the raw HE alpha. Um, yes, you don't get the fire chance, but they also don't get a pen nearly, or they don't get a heal nearly as much of that AP damage back as they do with, the damage from fires. Just something to kind of consider. There's a little bit of balancing when it comes to uh, those types of situations. Right now he's angled, so HE is pretty much my only, target choice, and I kind of potato my aim a little bit there. So we're 2-2 on caps. We've got, a pretty good ship lead, and I'm just taking this opportunity to keep the pressure up on the enemies. Um, Grozovoy, battleship AP, is not going to be a thing for it. I think perhaps wrongly so, this boat is incredibly strong. Um, but, regardless. Um, And what I'm gonna do here, you basically saw me driving over like this. I'm trying to use these islands to mask my position so I can blind fire. This Minotaur, he's making a desperate play to try to pick up this cap, try to stem the points loss. Minotaur ends up going down, and this is the kind of the positioning that I'm talking about. I'm using this island to shield my position, just kind of like a cruiser would, and it's letting me get, you know, basically damage in for free. But my real objective is this battleship is starting to push into to try to push my team, and I want to cut that off. And I'm that guy got wrecked. Um, but I'm basically gonna torp him as he comes around this island here, and just finish him off with guns or whatever else I can do. He's not terribly healthy. Um, so he's not gonna need a ton of torpedoes. But just sneaking down here. I land one torp on his nose. I go on ahead, smoke up with my last smoke, and just start going to town on this Montana. And I'm using um, the locations of my previous shell hits as kind of an indicator of where that guy was. And we're just finishing him off here. And that's basically puts us over the 1,000 points. All in all, a pretty decent game. You really see kind of the patience on display during the game. Um, using your HP when you need to get critical targets off the board, um, and also not letting um, windows of opportunity to take critical ships out. For example, that Wooster running back in and spotting him while his radar was down. That was kind of a critical play. If that guy was able to reverse off the island, uh, he basically would be able to come at me again, and I probably wouldn't have been able to survive another radar like that, regardless of the heals. Um, so it was important to um, basically chase that guy down and get him killed. Um, anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the game. It was a lot of Russian destroyers this week. Gonna be changing it up a little, like I said. Let me know what you guys want to see. Hope you guys are having a good day, and I will talk to you later.